With Doctor Who on hiatus this year, now seems like a good time to get into a new show, or read a book, or learn a new skill. Nah! But what episodes do you watch? Do you watch a whole series, or just your favourites? The trouble is, you watch your favourites 30 times each in between series 8 and 9, and watching a whole series means you're going to have to face some of the ones you didn't enjoy first time round. Well, you know what, maybe it's time to look back at the things you'd rather not. The memory does cheat and all that. If you need any more persuasion, here are 7 Doctor Who episodes to give a second chance. In a series dominated by the River Song storyline and many big and bombastic episodes, this episode always seems to slink away into the night, which is a shame really, as it's quite a lovely little thing. There's a great contrast between the mundane and the fantasy, both in its choice of locations and the story itself. Now, I love my Earthbound stories, and having one set in someone's home is super relatable as it could be happening next door. Daniel Mays gives a wonderful and very real performance as Alex, which adds to this. It's a good choice for those who don't really like the Series 6 story arc, because it's quite standalone. It's also a good 40 minutes of behind the sofa horror. It's not as scary as Blink, but it has plenty of creepiness and tension. Although we don't get to see the dolls until 30 minutes in, they're utterly terrifying, and it's definitely worth waiting for. Ultimately, it's a very heartwarming story about unconditional love, and Alex accepting the alien creature as his own at the end of the story is beautiful to watch. Many people found the Cult of Skari's return a little underwhelming in Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks, but there's still plenty to love. Firstly, the setting of New York during the Great Depression is really cinematic. The Statue of Liberty, Hooverville, the sewers, the theatre and the Empire State all contribute to creating a believable representation of this time period and setting. The concept of a human Dalek is interesting too. Initially, Dalek wanted to combine Daleks with humans to make use of their ambition and hatred, but he doesn't realise whilst doing this he will also feel empathy, sadness and mercy too. Sek ends up telling the other Daleks they don't need to be supreme anymore and wants to create a new race of good Dalek people. But of course the Daleks won't have any of it, and when they kill Sek, it's heartbreaking. Freema gives some strong performances as Martha in this too. Being a trainee doctor gives his character a lot of empathy, and I love her genuine disbelief when she first encounters the Daleks. Whilst the Doctor is being all angry at the Daleks, it's human responses like this that really help remind us just how terrible they are. I genuinely loved Fear Her as a kid. I thought the Scribble monster was proper scary. Honestly, I was seriously terrified by it. Yes, it's a bit silly watching it as an adult. It's one of the most childish episodes of Series 2 and it could sit very well on CBBC. But sometimes we need to remember, and some of you are going to hate me for saying this, that this is a kids show. It's not the most visually striking of episodes. The adventure takes place almost entirely on a street in London and the baddie is basically a kid's drawing. But that's the beauty of it. I love when Doctor Who has huge global threats and big baddies like the Daleks and the Master, but sometimes it's also nice to have an adventure a little bit closer to home. It's not as cinematic as the Doctor Who we have today, but I do have a soft spot for this episode for, well, how down to earth it is. This episode answers one of the biggest mysteries in Who: what's inside the depths of everyone's favourite blue box. There's so much going on for something that's limited to one location, as well as the depths of the Tardis. There's also some great timey-wimey concepts, like the Clara and the Doctor being in the same place but ever so slightly out of time linking and overlapping itself, and echoes of what they've done and what hasn't happened yet. The most interesting thing for me is how much it reveals about the Doctor's character. Rule number 1, the Doctor lies. That's a line that's thrown around in Doctor Who a lot, but we don't always see the consequences. He lies throughout this and it nearly costs him everything. Your hero lying isn't really nice, but whilst his worldview might be a little skewed, we're reminded that his motivation is always for the greater good. As he says, secrets keep us safe. And of course, everything is reversed in the end anyway, and I know a lot of people are put off by this ending. The conversations about how the Doctor and Clara met before, and all of the character progress made is retconned with a big friendly button. But Clara does find a book about the Time War containing the Doctor's name, so it's probably for the best. Ending aside, this episode is jam-packed with stuff to love. It's gripping and full of wonder, mystery, action, suspense and awe. Plus there's lots of cool timey-wimey concepts to get your teeth into. Now this episode divides fans quite a bit. Many people know that this is my least favourite episode of Doctor Who, mainly because it was Dr. Light and age 14 I found it a little bit boring. However, when you put aside the silly monster designed by a schoolboy in a Blue Peter contest and the whole head in a slab thing which, well, let's be honest, is a bit weird and kind of creepy, it's a pretty genius episode of Who, because at the heart of it, it's an episode about fandom. Elton's group are fans of the Doctor and they come together to hang out, share art, baking, writing, conversation, and they develop some wonderful friendships through this. And all of the characters, interestingly, have experienced loss in some way or they feel like they're outcasts. So they escape their mundane lives by celebrating something amazing and magical. Ring any bells? Now, I loved this episode the first time I saw it, and I still do. I think the genius of this episode is the use of real time, which creates a gripping, real sense of urgency and peril. There are some super chilling moments too. We see the Doctor physically in pain and tells Martha he's scared. At the time this was a first, and I certainly have never heard the Doctor scream quite like that before. Plus the Doctor is faced with the very real threat of losing Martha. Martha, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated companions in Doctor Who, and I think she had the hardest job of any companion, coming directly after Rose. But what's so great about 42 is we see the Doctor does in fact care for her. He's visibly terrified of losing her, and when they're separated, he is determined to save her. At the end of the episode, she's given a Tardis key and gains the Doctor's acceptance, albeit not romantic. Although David Tennant, orange spacesuits, a spaceship and possessed members of the crew is all a bit Satan pity, I think in retrospect 42 is a classic. It's claustrophobic, tense, contains some major character development and is experimental with its use of real time. In my opinion, 42 is one of the underrated gems in Series 3. Speaking of experimentation, I was genuinely surprised by the amount of people who didn't like Sleep No More. Sadly, some people even dismissed it before the episode even came out. I really loved it as it was experimenting with something new. It really reminded me of the series Inside Number 9, which I love for its experimentation in visual and narrative styles. Personally, I think this is exactly what Doctor Who should be doing more of. Now, if you were put off by the POV on the first watch, definitely give it another go. My favourite bit about this was the Doctor talking straight to us, which is so immersive. We get the feel of what it's like to be a companion standing by the Doctor's side on an adventure. I mean, how cool is that? So there we are then, 7 Doctor Who episodes to give a second chance. That's your lot. Completely done and dusted. Don't worry, we'll get on to Classic Who in a future video. Honestly. In the meantime, why not give some of these episodes a second viewing, and if there are any episodes that you think should be on the list, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!
This is an art hike. This is an art hike. This is art hike.